Solving nitrate pollution in Iowa, a farmer's perspective.
I'm poisoning your drinking water, and I don't even want to. That's the uncomfortable truth many Iowa farmers would admit if you sat on their porch at sunrise, coffee in hand, watching the mist rise off endless rows of corn. One such farmer told me years ago, while I hunted pheasants on his land, that his fields yielded the lowest bushels per acre in the county, yet still produced the highest profit. His secret? Old, fully paid-for equipment, and a stubborn refusal to dump on more chemicals than absolutely necessary. I've got weeds in my rows and money in the bank, he grinned. But here's where it gets controversial. His approach is the exception, not the rule, and the rest of us downstream are paying the price.
Since I first set foot in Iowa in 1978, the state's water quality debate has felt like a broken record. Just encourage farmers to install filter strips, bioretention cells, and restored wetlands. Problem solved. The science is solid. These practices do trap nitrates before they race into our rivers. Yet decades later, our lakes still bloom neon green each summer, and Des Moines Waterworks still fires up its nitrate removal plant more often than anyone wants. Why? Because asking individual producers to voluntarily sacrifice productive acres and the income those acres generate puts them at a competitive disadvantage to neighbors who skip the practice. Good intentions buckle under the weight of razor-thin margins. Farmers aren't villains. They're trapped in a system that rewards volume over value. Modern seed genetics, precision planters, and synthetic fertilizers have pushed per-acre yields to once unimaginable highs. Meanwhile, every fence row and woodlot that's been bolded into cropland adds another few bushels to the glut. Throw in favorable weather and shrinking export markets, tariffs anyone, and corn prices sink even as harvests soar. The result is a vicious cycle. Grow more to chase revenue, flood the market, watch prices fall, then grow even more to stay afloat. And this is the part most people miss. Regulation, often painted as the enemy of rural America, might actually be the lifeline that breaks that cycle. Imagine a rule that caps nitrogen application at, say, 120 pounds per acre, instead of the 180 to 200 many used today. Demand for fertilizer drops overnight, so its price falls. Less nitrogen left in the soil means less leaches into the Raccoon or Des Moines rivers. Lower yields? Yes, but smaller supply lifts the price per bushel, so gross revenue can remain steady or even rise. When every farmer plays by the same rule, no one is penalized for doing the right thing. Critics will shout government overreach. Yet well-crafted regulations can level the playing field the same way traffic lights do. Annoying sometimes, but they keep everyone moving safely. Now, let's stir the pot. Some will argue that technology alone, cover crops, bioreactors, or the latest slow-release fertilizers, can fix the problem without mandates. Others insist market incentives like water quality trading or premium sustainably grown labels will nudge behavior. Both help, but neither has scaled fast enough to match the urgency of our dirty water. So here's the provocative question. Is voluntary stewardship a noble idea that has simply failed in practice? If so, do we keep politely asking farmers to do the right thing while our lakes close to swimmers? Or do we finally set enforceable limits and trust that smart regulation can make farming both cleaner and more profitable? I'm not a farmer, and I won't pretend the solution is simple. Nitrate pollution is tangled with economics, culture, and generations of habit. But I, like most Iowans, live downstream. I can't safely swim in certain state park lakes, and my tap water sometimes smells like a swimming pool thanks to added chlorine battling excess nitrates. It feels unjust that downstream communities shoulder health risks and treatment costs so that upstream producers can chase an oversupplied market. Efficient, science-based regulation, crafted with farmers at the table, could flip that script, turning environmental necessity into economic opportunity. So, what do you think? Should Iowa finally trade the pretty please approach for firm, fair nitrogen limits? Or is there a better path that doesn't pit farmer against neighbor and city against country? Drop your take, agree, disagree, or offer a totally different angle in the comments. The conversation is long overdue, and the next generation of swimmers, anglers, and tap water drinkers is counting on us to get it right. Rich Patterson is a member of the National Circle of Conservation Chiefs. Opinion content represents the viewpoint of the author or the Gazette editorial board. You can join the conversation by submitting a letter to the editor or guest column. https://www.thegazette.com/submit a letter or commentary, or by suggesting a topic for an editorial to editorial@thegazette.com. Through the roof interest for Iowa's first water quality forum. Iowa's water quality crisis reaches boiling point. Over 1,000 citizens demand answers. Des Moines, Iowa is on the cusp of a pivotal moment in its environmental history. On Monday, at Drake University's Sheslow Auditorium, Polk County and the Harkin Institute will host the state's first ever public forum dedicated to tackling the contentious issue of Iowa's water quality. With an unprecedented 1,000-plus registrations, the event is poised to spark a long overdue conversation. But here's where it gets intriguing. What's driving this surge in public interest? Is it the recent lawn watering ban that left many scratching their heads? The periodic fish kills that have become all too familiar? Or perhaps the frequent beach closures that have disrupted summer plans for countless Iowans? Dr. Adam Shriver, Director of Wellness at the Harkin Institute and a key organizer of the event, weighs in on the phenomenon. The energy around this event is unparalleled in my experience. The turnout and registration numbers are quite literally through the roof. Unpacking the science behind the crisis. At the heart of this forum lies the Central Iowa Resource Water Research Assessment, a groundbreaking report released on July 1st. The culmination of 4,000-plus hours of meticulous research by 16 unbiased scientists, this comprehensive study sheds light on the contaminants plaguing the Raccoon and Des Moines rivers. Key findings include a staggering 80% of nitrates in the rivers are directly attributed to agricultural practices. In-depth analysis of bacteria levels, painting a nuanced picture of the water quality landscape. Over 24 actionable recommendations aimed at mitigating the crisis. A platform for the people by the people. On Monday, attendees will have the unique opportunity to engage directly with 4 of the report's lead scientists, delving into the intricacies of the 200-plus page document. While nitrates have dominated the discourse, our report underscores a multitude of interconnected issues affecting Iowa's rivers, notes Dr. Shriver, emphasizing the report's holistic approach to understanding the state's environmental practices. Join the conversation. When? Monday, 6 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Where? Sheslow Auditorium, 2507 University Avenue, Des Moines. How to attend? Register for free at https. Share your thoughts. Do you believe the proposed recommendations go far enough, or is more drastic action needed? Let's continue the conversation in the comments below. How H.R. 3898 threatens Iowa's water quality and agriculture. What if I told you Congress is about to make Iowa's water crisis disappear by letting polluters off the hook? As a lifelong farmer and steward of Iowa's land, I'm sounding the alarm about a dangerous bill that could sabotage decades of progress toward clean water. Let me explain why this matters to every Iowan and every American who cares about safe drinking water, healthy ecosystems, and responsible agriculture. My name is Seth Watkins, and I've spent over 40 years raising cattle on my family's farm near Clarinda. I still remember the March blizzard in 1982 when my first calf, Scotch, was born. At 11 years old, I dragged her into my sister's bedroom, revived her with a shot of whiskey and a warm bottle of colostrum, and discovered my life's purpose, caring for living things. That same commitment drives me today as I work land my family has nurtured since 1848. Farming isn't about getting rich, it's a labor of love. Like many family farmers, I chose this life to protect our land, animals, and way of life. Taxpayer support makes this possible, and in return, you deserve 3 things: safe food, clean water, and thriving landscapes. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The so-called Permit Act, H.R. 3898, now before Congress, threatens to break this sacred bargain. Let's be clear. Iowa's water crisis is already dire. Our rivers carry more nitrate pollution than nearly any state's. Contamination linked to blue baby syndrome, thyroid disease, and up to 330 annual cancer cases, according to the Environmental Working Group. Last summer alone, toxic algae blooms forced dozens of beach closures. Water treatment plants spend millions filtering this mess, costs that hit your utility bills. Now here's where it gets controversial. The Permit Act wouldn't fix this. It would accelerate the pollution. The bill strips protections from small streams and wetlands, nature's built-in water filters. Shockingly, it would allow pesticide runoff and PFAS forever chemicals to be dumped into waterways without permits. Even fallow industrial sites could legally pollute by rebranding waste as agricultural stormwater. But wait, there's a twist most people miss. This isn't just about industry versus environment. Programs like Swamp Buster, which pay farmers to protect wetlands that naturally filter pollutants, are being dismantled in court. The Permit Act would gut these partnerships while silencing public input on water policy. We're losing solutions and safeguards simultaneously. The human cost? Iowa now has the nation's second highest cancer rate. While multiple factors contribute, peer-reviewed studies confirm nitrate pollution's role. Are we really willing to accept more cancer cases, more do-not-drink advisories, and more dead zones in our rivers to protect polluters' profits? Here's the hopeful part. Iowa farmers have proven we can produce abundant food and protect water quality. Through regenerative practices like cover cropping and wetland conservation, we've shown pollution isn't inevitable. But we need tools, not loopholes. So I'm asking you, contact Representatives Feenstra, Nunn, Hinson, and Miller-Meeks. Tell them to vote no on this reckless bill. This isn't about politics. It's about the water we all share. That morning coffee, your child's swim lessons, the fish on your plate, they all depend on clean water. Now I want to hear from you. Do we prioritize short-term profits over long-term health? Can agriculture and environmental protection coexist? Share your thoughts below. Let's start the conversation Iowa deserves. Seth Watkins is a fourth-generation farmer at Pinhook Farm in Clarinda, Iowa, where clean water isn't a political issue. It's a matter of survival.